Well, you may have heard that it's all about relationships, but what does that mean? For some people, maybe that just means, thinking along the lines of if I had good relationships, if I had somebody that was important in my life, etc., well, then all my problems are going to be solved. Everything's going to be much better. But the reality is that it goes far, far beyond that. That's what led me to creating value theory. I took the research from the past 50 years, and a lot of this was built on a guy named Bowlby who did things with attachment. But I began to figure out that all of the challenges that we have with our mental health, they're all about relationships, every single one of them in the DSM. So imagine for a minute that you've got a chart, right? And so you have a baseline that goes across this chart, right? From the very beginning of the time that you were born. Some people would even argue that it goes before that. But let's just stick with that for a minute. It starts from the time you're born. And you have this baseline that says, I need to feel valuable. I need to feel important. I need to feel loved. And so as time goes, right, with every relationship you have from the very beginning, right, maybe you're handed to your mother, and then you've got your father, you got your siblings, you got your grandparents, you got your aunts, your uncles, your cousins, you got friendships. Later on, maybe you have those romantic relationships, but every single one of those relationships is either going to meet that baseline, exceed it, or be below it. And if you stay too far off of that baseline for too long, that's where you start to see the problems: anxiety, depression, even some of the reactions that we see with like a PTSD. The thing is that it carries on for you because those relationships, we're still seeking them out. I'm still seeking somebody that's going to feel that need that I had, not understanding how much those past relationships, those ones that didn't meet that baseline, affected you, affecting your reactions, your decisions, behaviors. Talk about addiction. Well, there's one right there. Relationships we'll seek out, relationships we'll avoid. And then you get into these relationships. You may hear the term sometimes like, uh, I bring all this baggage into the relationship. Well, this is the baggage, man. This is where it is because you could have two people that maybe, like, man, I'm just really in love with this person because they're filling that need that was consciously or subconsciously connected to those voids that you had before. But then all of a sudden, as these two people are maybe having a conversation, maybe beginning to get into a little bit of an argument, and one person says to the other person something that just boom makes the whole thing explode. That is on like Donkey Kong. Well, why? Well, the first thing we're going to do is say, man, I just can't help this. This person's crazy. This is so forth and so on. But the reality is that there was a reason why they reacted the way that they did because of those past relationships along that value timeline and reasons why you react the way that you do. And until you're able to put them away, it's really hard for you to find your true self. Because only when you find your true self is when then you can find that other true self with you. And then you can have that kind of successful relationships because we get those things out of the way. Because you begin to realize that just like you having that timeline, they had it too. And the other people in their lives had it too. That's where we begin to dig in and go beyond the relationship dynamic. And once we break that all apart, man, we open those chests. Some of it's not pretty. But when we get in there and we begin to find out the truth about all those things, that's where the real magic begins to happen for you because you begin to see the truth. And that sets you free.